again, thank you for coming. It's awesome. I mean, just to think back when I was here last, right? March 14th when I got the job and was in that awesome run at Louisville and came down here for the unbelievable welcoming. Thank you for all the Hail State fans out there that made this a great transition and a great period for me and most importantly my family. Walking around the baseball stadium, eating out in left field lounge, the newspapers that were left by the people of this community on my car, the food and people getting up from the table to come over and welcome me and my staff and my family is the reason why I took this job. This place is special, and it's because there's special people that live in this community and most importantly believe in Mississippi State, and that's why I'm excited to be the head coach here and get this thing back where it just was. But like I asked and what I told everybody when I was here last is I just need a little patience and time. And when you reflect on the months that since I've been hired and to where we're at now, it's been awesome bringing back the special returners that we have back that are committed to this program and excited about where it's going. And then adding the new transfers. What a time to be a college head coach with the transfer portal, where we had a problem when I took the job because there wasn't enough depth. With small numbers, and now look at us. We got a full roster that is excited for the season, and most importantly, excited to play in the hump with the renovations and all the great things that are going on in this program. So thank you again for all of those people, and especially you all today, and let's open it up some questions.
Sam, I mean, you talked about the transfer portal. You added a lot of new faces to this team. You have some key pieces coming back too, but this is a different time, just like you said, and there's going to be a lot of change in the rosters. How have you seen that kind of take effect with the chemistry, I guess, and the players that were already here? I mean, how are those players getting along, coming together?
Yeah, great question. Well, I think it's been great right now. One is because when I took the job, for me, it's more than just X's and O's. Our first job was to get to know them as people. Right? So there was a true bonding, an excitement for change, and a new attitude and a wave. So then you add that with players who come from successful programs, who also want to be a part of what's already here that is special, and that knowing what this program can get back to and the fan base that supports us has made that chemistry really special and fun to watch from behind the scenes.
You mentioned kind of coming in and right away kind of getting into the portal. I guess what have you learned in these first few months about being, a head coach that maybe you didn't know before?
Honestly, I look at it as not much of a change at all, right? I just left Jeff Walls, who I'm forever grateful. My 9 years there at Louisville. He is a coach that you have seen coaches come out of his programs that have moved on to be head coaches. There's a way he manages people that make him special, and that's the reason why he'll be a future Hall of Famer one day, because he is a master of managing people. So the opportunity while I had in the best passenger seat for 9 years and experiencing 2 Final Fours and the jobs that he gave me and the responsibility made this for an easy transition where it wasn't necessarily me being a first-time head coach. It just happened to be I'm the head coach at Mississippi State. That a lot of the things that I'm incurring or going through, I'm forever again grateful for him and putting me in a position to handle that because I've done that already when I was at Louisville, Kentucky.
What was your name?
Jack Byers.
Jack, go ahead.
Just kind of going into the transfer portal, you bring in a lot of players that come from higher major programs. How big is that, coming into your first year and being able to grab some players that have some experience, at the college level, whereas, just a couple of years ago without the portal, you probably would have had to have taken a high school heavy recruiting class?
Yeah, no, good, and that's another good question. Well, first and foremost, I'm forever grateful for this group because that's my first signing class, right? I get the head coaching job and a group of young women who believe in me as much as Mississippi State and this program that they're willing to come here. I'll forever remember that, right? That's that special thing when you're a coach that you don't lose sight of those moments. And then to your second question, as far as for our program, that is the beautiful thing about the transfer portal is there might have been weaknesses within our team that now have become added strengths, right? And that the outlook of our team top to bottom is way different than what was last year's team. And again, I think this transfer group is something special in multiple ways because from where they've come, they now obviously will have larger roles. But they came here again because of the fan base and the energy that this program provides. And it's exciting to see that dynamic work together. And I can't wait for November to get here.
Right, okay.
Jessica, you said Brian?
Brian, yeah,
Sorry. I'm sorry.
Teamwork already. I like it, boys. I like it.
This is a program that's had 4 head coaches
Yeah.
in 3 years. At the same time, it's a program that 3 years ago was in the Elite Eight and was coming off back-to-back national championship game appearances. How much closer is it to one or the other as you sit here today?
Well, I think every year it doesn't matter what's happened in the past. I mean, you look at the new NCAA rules and the landscapes that are out there and the mass change of rosters. I think we all read this no matter what program, right? It's about starting fresh on day one, right? Building those relationships, not losing sight of it's more than just X's and O's. It's not about the past, it's about the present. And I think that's what me and my staff have done a phenomenal job of making sure that we don't speed rush this process, that we just put it in a microwave, that we get to know each other as people and go about it the right way. And when that happens, that's where success occurs. And it goes back to your point. That's when you get to make runs in March that you only dream about for moments that are occurring right now as we speak this week, where I'm having my first fall team meeting here at 4 o'clock, where we can reflect on the summer, which I thought we crushed. I thought our chemistry was awesome. I think our commitment to the weight room and my new strength coach and Katie Jones was unbelievable. Our fan base saw that content that we try to provide behind the scenes. They got in the gym and worked. I told them whatever your label was before I got here, I don't care, because you have a clean slate and a clean opportunity to prove to me what kind of player you want to be. And a lot of them took that challenge and got in there and have changed what I call their scouting report, where maybe you're not a shooter, but now you are. And so those little things, to go back to your question, is what helps me believe that we could be back to that championship behavior a lot quicker because we took care of day one.
My turn now. Jessica, she missed all last year, and that was probably tough on her.
Right.
But how have you kind of seen her attack the off season now coming into this year, knowing that she's going to have a chance to get back on the court?
Yeah, unbelievable. Again, there's that commitment that I take pride in this program, that it's more than just basketball, that there are relations, that we care about them more than just, on the court, but off as well. And what a special young woman. We got a little preview. We did a little social media advertisement where I didn't know she was a professional singer. She showcased some of her singing qualities. But when you look at that clip more in depth, you see what awesome person she is. How when she was singing, I'll never forget her teammates feeding off of her, right? Joining her. And there's a quality and a way that Jessica goes about life that I absolutely love that kid. All right, and I'm just so excited to coach her. It's been awesome in the short period getting to know her, but most importantly, her story. And then most importantly, her passion to come back. All right, her as more as anybody on my team cannot wait for this opportunity to get back in front of our fan base. It could be easy to move on or go a different direction, but that is her motivation and excitement and her countdown for when she gets that opportunity in the future.
You were just talking with Brian's question about, kind of how it's a fresh start and you don't think too much of the past, but in a lot of the videos that you put on social media, you talk about, the history that is in Mississippi State. I guess how do you, balance those two of building off the history, knowing that it's there, but also, making sure these players don't assume just because you're at Mississippi State means that you could make, a run to the Final Four or something.
Yeah. Well, I think you always want to embrace the history, right? Any successful program or place that you're at, you want to be 2 feet in, but an appreciation of those who've been here before you. So to reflect on the past and bring those alums and fans back in is key. Also, to sell the vision of what we're trying to do has been done before, right? Sometimes people in life, especially young kids, you got to remember I'm coaching 18 to 22-year-olds, that sometimes when you sell a vision or a story, they're like, Coach, that happened somewhere else, or it can't happen here. But the fact that it has, makes them even more invested in understanding those weight room sessions and the summer courts that, man, if I put forth the work, this is the same thing that people did before me, and that this truly can happen again with the right attitude and the right work ethic. So, there's a combination of both, and when both are mixed correctly, because you're just not going to get there based on the past. You definitely got to put forth the effort, but that understanding, to your point of the question, of where this has been and where we're going is what makes this a very fun year that's coming up here soon.
Danny?
Coach, it's a new era of Mississippi State basketball across the board with men's program.
Right.
Just talk about the Humphrey Coliseum renovations that you mentioned in your opening statement. And
Yeah.
the excitement that you feel when you see what's going on every day.
Yeah, well, I'll never forget, again, when I got my first day here, when I walked through that facility, and they did an unbelievable job with me and my family, and just sitting there. What a perfect size arena for college sports. I'll never forget the quote I read from Susie at Michigan State, where she said something like, where 7,000 sounds like 70, right? And to walk into that facility and truly feel like, okay, I see why, all right, that's going to be, that feeling, and why she gave that quote gets me fired up, because if we're going to work this hard and spend this many hours what we're doing, right, you want to feel the excitement and the reward that comes within that, and being here and playing in that facility with our fan base gets me fired up. And then with the new renovations, it's the new wave in recruiting. Players want to go somewhere where it's cool, where it's top of the line, that you got everything you need. And then most importantly, our fans, our alumni, when you watch on ESPN, want to be proud when you turn in. So to be able to see the renovations and to check all the boxes is huge for recruiting. But most importantly, it's awesome for my players to have that kind of facility and environment to play in.
And kind of building off both those questions, when we spoke to the players earlier in the summer, that was a big part of the enthusiasm that they had with buying into this new project, and as well as the renovations kind of happening and the excitement around that. How do you harness that kind of going forward and keep that going until October, November, when the season really gets going? Yeah,
it's a unique time, right? Because with me being the new coach, there's no harnessing to it. All of us, staff, players, support members, anybody who's a part of the program is all in there. So every day that we go about is just one more step to getting to what we all want to experience. So right now, I don't want to put a harness. There's an energy, a passion, an underdog mentality about our program right now that I love, that I want to feed off of that and let us drive us into these fall workouts, so that when the season arrives, it just continues, because at that point, now you're playing. That's a natural energy I don't have to bring. But for right now, as we start workouts in the fall, I don't want to buckle up, and I don't want to slow down. Let's keep it, the foot on the gas pedal, and let's get after it.
You mentioned Katie Jones earlier and the work she's done. Can you take us through a little bit, your relationship with her, how you kind of knew her, the interview process, and what made you decide that she was the right fit here? Yeah, so at Louisville, we were fortunate to have a young woman named Tina Murray, all right, who is one of the most sought out, highly thought out strength coaches in the country. She was leading edge of technology, the way she trained players. She hired Katie while at Louisville, Tina Murray did, and was training. All right, she saw a lot in Katie, and my time there, I watched her under Tina. Tina gets hired by the Sacramento Kings, the first female NBA strength coach, because that's how good she was. So then I watched Katie go from a transformational role of being taught into the head person. And to watch her crush that with confidence, energy, and pride, it was fun to watch from behind the scenes. So I watched firsthand how special she is. And then for her to get an opportunity to go with Tina out to the NBA and do the G League and get that going was awesome. But she missed the college dynamics of what college sports bring. As we all can imagine, in professional sports, there's a lot of individual contracts, things that we read about every day, but there's a beauty of college sports that you work with others, that you can make a positive impact in players' lives, not just their body, but their mind, the way they approach life. And Katie checks all those boxes, which she values and puts a lot of effort and time behind the scenes. So for me to get her back here and watch what she's done for my program is next level. NCAA only allows so many hours
for us to work with our athletes. So people like her are huge because they get a lot of hours behind the scenes that they can help mold and set the tone for my team. So I can't say enough great things about her and the work she's already done.
Was it kind of about like you know, interviewing her, giving her the offer, or was that kind of like you waiting on her to call you back and say that, you know, she wanted it? How did that kind of go?
You know what? It's a great story. So Katie has always believed in me. All right, and I appreciate that. I've told everybody from day one, I'm a huge relationship person. And when I was at Louisville, Katie always looked at me and she said, Sam, if you ever become a head coach, I'm telling you, I'm going to come work for you. You know, when people say that, you're like, okay, I just make sure I don't forget her birthday. All right, send her a birthday card. She's being nice, or, you know, I appreciate that. But when I got that job and she called me, she's like, remember what I told you? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, I'm serious. I'll leave the NBA and I'll come to you because that's how much I believe in you and I believe in that program. She took the job without even visiting. And again, it just speaks volume of Katie and the work she's doing, but most importantly, who she is as a person.
Has anybody stood out as far as the new faces are concerned and workouts and practices for you?
You know what? No, I can't singly say one person, right? I mean, again, when I took this job, it was about putting a team together. A lot of our workouts haven't been against each other. It's been, how can we work this out together as a team? How can we find a way to solve the problems and the challenges I'm going to provide you in practice, and let me explore what kind of players I got? How can you work with others? A lot of things that players value success is when the ball goes in the basket, but the challenges I gave them in the summertime had nothing to do with it. How do you warm up? How do you carry yourself? How do you pick up a teammate? Those are areas that make successful teams, like we mentioned earlier. You know, where do we see this program? Where are we going? If that we can master those moments, then success will take care of itself. So because my whole entire team was committed to that, because they don't have to come to summer school, but they chose to. And they chose with a great attitude and a great work ethic. So I'm proud of my team right now, given the effort it needs to move this needle and get in the right direction.
I have time for just a couple more with Brian.
I asked Coach Jans a similar question. This, being a first-year head coach, and for you being a
Yeah.
first-year head coach anywhere, what's the recruiting pitch when you don't have, you know, years of experience to back yourself and say, well, this is what I've done at former programs as a head coach? What is that recruiting pitch like?
Well, first and foremost, women's basketball matters here. I left a great program where it's one of the top 5 fan bases in the country. So for me to leave, I wasn't just leaving for any job. Again, I spent a lot of hours. Our family makes a lot of sacrifices. My staff's family makes a lot of sacrifices. But to put forth the work that we have to night in, night out, and be rewarded by a community and a school that will back your program and support you like no other is an easy sales pitch. All right, because there's a lot of people across the country when they choose a program or a school where they go to the games and there's nobody there. Just like when football's coming up. I tell all the recruits all the time, don't get tricked when you go to the football games. All right, make sure you understand, do they really care about women's basketball? Because sometimes recruits go to a football game and they see these unbelievable crowds. They sign there, and then the women's game, and they're like, well, what happened to all those fans? We're here at Mississippi State, all sports matter. All right, we saw the success. Shout out to softball. All right, volleyball, the runs that they made. And then obviously Mike Leach has done a phenomenal job. Chris Jans, I cannot say enough great things about. What a great guy. I love him because he values women's basketball, the way he talks to our staff, my players. That's not common across the country. So it's a positive environment where, again, the sales pitch is the people. The people make this place special. They're going to support you night in and night out, which we witnessed last year. They had a tough year, but people still came. When we go out to eat, they care. They're honking. They're buying food. They're taking those newspapers. That is special. There's a Southern hospitality that is missing across the country that I tell recruits that this place has to offer. And then again, it's a great place to get education in the best conference in the country. And the opportunity and the platform that you have to play at the highest stage is second to none. So one thing you've seen on my social media is why not us? Because I truly believe it. Why not, right? Why not come here? There's a lot of great things to offer, and especially for women, where you're valued and you're appreciated. So Mississippi State is definitely that school for you.